Hello and welcome to Moneycontrol. We are at NASSCOM's flagship technology and leadership summit, and today we are in conversation with Krishnan Ramanujam, President Enterprise Growth Group at Tata Consultancy Services and Chairman of NASSCOM. Uh, Mr. Krishnan, thank you so much for joining us for this discussion. So, just to begin with, NASSCOM strategic review numbers came out today, and looks like we have added 290,000 new jobs in FY23. Would like to start with this. Do you expect to add on a similar number in the upcoming year in FY24, or do you expect that to go up or go down? What's your outlook?
Good afternoon, Debangana. Thank you for having me in the show. As you said, we added 290,000 jobs in this industry during the current year. But giving a sense for what it is likely to be next year is going to be very hard. Firstly, NASSCOM as an industry body is not ideally placed for any forecasts. Right? So it's not our job to forecast, but broadly give some trend lines. And from that point of view, I think the next year is likely to be very similar. Clearly, even in FY23, we saw pre-COVID level growths. Compared to pre-COVID levels, it was stronger. Next year is likely to be a similar year, is what I would say.
Right, and we have also started seeing a sort of slowdown in terms of hiring, quarter on quarter hiring in some of the IT companies. Plus, there seems to be a delay in onboarding. What's your take on that? And is that in any way a sign that demand may also have started to slow down for the IT sector?
No, again, like I said, the last 2 years have been very atypical. Firstly, because of the COVID in FY21, the numbers went way down for the industry, and in FY22 we saw a very handsome pullback. Right? So these were two very atypical years, and they cannot form the baseline for what is to follow. Right? So in many ways, FY23 is the first year in which we saw very minimal effects on COVID, and so that has to be compared with the pre-COVID level numbers. When that kind of a year in which FY22, when we saw a lot of euphoria and the adoption of technology, what the companies did was to prepare for a future where the demand is expected to be very high. Right? Then when the correction inevitably happens, companies have to do what it's necessary to correct. So whatever is the overinvestment that happened during the previous year has to be corrected, and that is what is going on. And I don't look at it as a degrowth or a negative sentiment for the industry. It is just the market dynamics playing out and adjusting to calibrate to the demand. In a couple of quarters or so, I think it'll get back into normalcy.
So, do you expect a delay in terms of onboarding in FY24?
Yeah, I think many of our member companies have actually announced a delay in onboarding and so on. Yes, we do.
Right. And moving on, since the 2023 started, AI, generative AI, chat GPT seems to be the flavor of the season. So, as TCS, the IT services major, what is your outlook? How do you see, chat GPT and an AI technology like this impacting IT services sector? Will this impact the way coding is done, and also in terms of other business aspects?
So, generative AI is definitely a very exciting new piece of technology. It definitely has the potential to completely reset the economics of coding by improving the productivity and efficiency significantly. However, the true benefits of that, both on the productivity side and on the transformational benefits side, will come when ChatGPT or BOD or any of the generative AI technologies is able to deliver enterprise use cases where typically there is a business case, there is an unsolved problem that is solved more efficiently, or something that takes a lot of time is done much more quickly. Right? Those kind of use cases, when they start getting delivered by the generative AI technologies, is when the true transformative power of that will unleash. Until then, it will be a cool technology with a lot of potential, and a lot of us are working to get those enterprise use cases delivered using these generative AI technologies.
Right. So, are you seeing any use cases and discussions happening at TCS? Are the clients coming up with it, talking about it?
So I am speaking to you here as the chairman of NASSCOM, so I will not comment on TCS. But yeah, many of the NASSCOM member companies are hard at work, furiously trying to find use cases that can be beneficial by deploying the generative AI technology. Yeah.
Well, I do have a couple of questions around TCS, if I may ask. So TCS this quarter did reported a massive deal of over $700 million with Phoenix Group in London. It's a big deal.
So this is not the forum for TCS related questions, Debangana. TCS will do it in a separate forum. Like I said, this is NASSCOM NTLF. I'm the chairman of NASSCOM. So we'll limit the questions to NASSCOM. Yeah.
So also from an industry perspective, in that case, what are the trends you are seeing in terms of nature of deal wins that your partner companies are reporting at NASSCOM? The nature of deals, size of deals, are they going to be large this year, or is the sizes going to go down? So what's going to be the outlook like for the IT sector?
So there are a few areas that I will call out. Right. One is obviously the cloud. Cloud is very big. The growth is continuing to be driven very hard with cloud. And as companies get more and more comfortable with this cloud migration, right, and the deal sizes are also getting larger and larger. So that is the first thing that I would call. And then cloud is one thing to migrate on-prem estates to the cloud, but the more transformative benefits come when you're able to reimagine your business and delivering those transformational benefits with cloud as the underlying piece of technology, right? Where there is a lot more consulting-led transformations, right? Re-architecting solutions and reimagining customer experience and things of that nature. Those are also driving a significant amount of growth. And in order to do those, there is a lot of application modernization, even rewriting, refactoring kind of work is there. And similarly, managing all of this in infrastructure mode, whereas there is a part of your estate is on the cloud, part of it is on-prem, part of it is a third-party stuff. This kind of a hybrid mixed estate, managing that is a fairly complex affair. And that is also a good growth area. So to sum it all up, I would say cloud and associated cybersecurity, hybrid management, application modernization would probably be the top four things that I would call out as the big areas that are driving the growth.
So is migration still going big? Because we have seen that hyperscalers have reported slowdown in revenue. Obviously, the digital transformation deals in terms of their phase two of deals, like I think Mr. Rajesh Gopinathan also pointed out in one of our previous interviews, that the phase two of digital transformation is still on. But in terms of cloud migration, so has there been any slowdown there?
See, the cloud migrations are continuing apace. I wouldn't say that the cloud migrations have slowed down. And the fact that the hyperscalers have declared results that indicate a slowdown in their signings, right? What that means is that clients are now demanding a business case, right? And probably the earlier business cases on which the first wave of cloud transformations were signed are probably getting delayed, right? So customers want to consolidate whatever they have done, make sure that the business benefits for the earlier cloud, the first phase of the cloud migrations are achieved before they want to commit anything further to the second phase, which means some sense of realism will start getting in, right? And in many ways, cloud was also a big hype, right? And now the realism is setting in. The true migrations to the cloud to deliver business-focused benefits will now start coming to the fore, which by definition means things will be more realistic, which means a little slower than the stupendous heights that we saw in the last couple of years.
Right, and also the NASSCOM reported that the sector is going to report some $245 billion in revenue, IT sector. So, do you expect a similar? It was an 8.4% growth, if I'm not wrong, year on year. So 9.4. So, do you expect that to continue in FY24?
Again, like I said, FY24 will be a similar year. I'm not able to tell you a specific number. That 9.4% is on a reported dollar basis. And as you know, the US dollar appreciates significantly against most other major currencies. So when you look at it in a constant currency terms, right, it is 11.4, which is a good double-digit number. For an industry of the $226 billion size to grow 11.4% on constant currency basis is a fairly significant and robust, pretty strong year, I would say. And I would expect the coming years to be a similar trajectory.
Sure. Mr. Krishnan, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for talking to Moneycontrol.
Pleasure. Thank you.